The real world, a global community where like-minded individuals work toward achieving their personal goals. Every member receives advanced training and mentoring from our team of experienced industry specialists. Develop essential business skills with the help of our coaches through our online comprehensive education system. Join now. Real Prosperity Financial Freedom Formula. Discover how to become financially free so you don't have to depend on your business, a job, the government, a partner, or anyone else for money. Scan code for the Financial Freedom Formula. 4BK Forbidden Knowledge Shop. Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops. Embark on a journey of discovery with Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops, where history, science, and spirituality merge to unlock the secrets of the universe. Our immersive experiences take you beyond the mainstream narrative, exploring ancient civilizations, consciousness expansion, biohacking, UFO phenomena, and the art of manifestation. Esoteric Store, featuring new esoteric and biohack items. It's a movement, a portal to ancient wisdom, higher vibrations, and deep truths. Awakening minds and expanding consciousness. Scan code to shop now. AI Genius Club. Revolutionary suite of 24 AI-powered apps is designed to automate, optimize, and elevate your success. Whether you're crafting visuals, creating engaging funnels, or generating personalized content, our platform empowers you to excel with ease and precision. Scan code to create magic. Event Raptor, the #1 solution for automating your sales. Attract, nurture, and convert with your ultimate coaching client attraction system. Everything you need to grow your audience, your authority and influence, your sales. Scan to start your automation.
You traded the suit for freedom, but now you're drowning in busy work with nothing to show for it. Busy doesn't mean profitable. Business growth is elegantly simple. Transform into a confident leader with an engaged team and rising revenue. Get a clear roadmap, real mentorship, and hands-on business growth support. Book your More Buyers, More Money strategy session now. Scan code to book your More Buyers, More Money strategy session now. Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Pain Point Podcast, and I'm your hostess with a mostess, Nicole. Yeah, that's me. All right, we are back for more. Don't forget, if you would, support the sponsors that sponsor the show, because that way I can give you all this added and wonderful value for free. And that's how that works. It's a series of reciprocity. It's a series of collaboration. And who knows, we can always collaborate together. We have wonderful finds this week with Penelope. She's got a great ebook. Scan that code because it's free. Wonderful things. AI Genius, you get these great scroll stopping genius tools for your marketing. It makes your marketing easier. And you know what? It's very easy to hand off to your VA, and you can trust the system right there. And also, don't forget to click the link with Event Raptor. Why? Because you want to get seen and heard, and it's free to sign up and get recognized by great hosts just like me. I know, a shameless plug, but you know what? You get to be the one that comes on as the guest, and that's the most important part of it. You get seen and heard, and that's what we're all here for, is to share our business, our skills, our tools, and our wonderful energy together. Let's get right to it. And I've got a great guest today, and welcome, Christine, to the Pain Point Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Always great and awesome. And today, just so we know where we're going down this journey today, so you know what? I'm not taking you blindfolded. I want you to know the path that you're ready to embark on and why you decided to listen to your guides and join us on this journey today. You've got a pain point. And the pain point in your business is complexity. It's probably frustrating you and you're not very successful or as successful as you should be. Christine steps in and she's going to share a solution about easing that complexity and offer this simplicity. Let's keep it simple. And Christine, we're going to get into this great conversation today. But before we start, Would you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I'd love to. I want you to know, first off, that I didn't get up one day and decide to go do what I'm doing. And that's important that you know that. The things that you're great at, you don't often see. And you buy into the complexity that it needs to be hard. It needs to come in a perfect package. It needs to look like the following thing. I have built a global business where I help small businesses figure out where their next client is coming from. Because I had so many conversations around cups of coffee and glasses of wine, and people were saying, what the hell? How can you do something an hour a day when it takes me 60? I said, because you're buying into the complexity and you're doing the hokey pokey. And they're like, holy Dinah, maybe we should have another cup of coffee. And I said, maybe we should help instead. And today I'm really excited to change the conversation around what does it actually take to build a business? Because I want to see more people win. And the complexity isn't the path.
Oh, wow. I love that you say that because I like to keep it simple. And that's part of why I started my business was not just the passion and the servitude, but I was so frustrated with how difficult it was. And why was it so difficult if, as a Silicon Valley baby in the 80s, where all these cool tech stuff was coming forward, we had Star Wars, we had Star Trek, and all this cool Pong, Atari, all these great things of facts that you had to actually dial. But we're in a simplified world. Why are we making it so hard? Like you had to, MS-DOS, you had to learn how to program the program or call somebody that could find the program, but you didn't speak the same language, even though you both thought you spoke English. Who knows ones and zeros? I can't translate it. But when we keep things simple, it just eases our mind, it eases our business, and it gives us a freedom, which leads to financial freedom. And that's important to live a luxurious life and be prosperous so we can be in the servitude that we want to be in. What are some of those myths maybe that you can bust about the complexity of business?
The world, let me tell you this. If somebody's trying to sell you complexity, no, I said they're trying to sell you something. And you talk about the zeros and ones, and that's how simple the world is. I have this great philosophy and I train by it, I coach by it, I live by it, which is get off zero. You want to think that you want to do 10,000 things in your business. I'm like, why? How about you just focus off getting off zero? Getting off zero every single day has a compound effect. It's the 1/3 of the world. And while you might not be able to build your dreams in a nanosecond, you certainly will never build them from zero. And so it can be that simple from a mental game. Commit to getting off zero. But here's the other piece of the puzzle. If you really want to build a business that creates freedom, and you said financial freedom, I think freedom in wealth comes in many facets. Money, community, religion, all kinds of different things, including your physical and spiritual health. In order for it to be repeatable, it has to be simple. And truthfully, if you want time out of your business and things like that, complexity is the death of it. And I think this idea when we're first starting is that we run a mile a minute, we have a million ideas. Great businesses do 1 or 2 things only. They don't do a million. You look back to some of the biggest brands on the planet, they do one thing. But how about you focus on getting off zero and doing one thing really well? Because that's actually how you're going to build a business that rewards you predictably, where you're constantly not setting yourself on fire.
I don't want to do that.
I know I like stable paychecks. This is the funny thing about entrepreneurship, because one of the things that we feel the most nervous about is the inconsistency of a roller coaster of money. And I said, you're creating it. Right. You're creating it by the constant need every other week to reinvent something. And everything that you invent, everything that you adjust, everything that you change has time to course correct. So every time you do that, you slow things down. What if you just stayed where you are and got better?
Ooh.
Getting better at what that one thing is. I will tell you, it's that simple to build a really successful business. And all of my clients are like, you mean I can step off the crazy train? I'm like, yeah, anytime you like. You're the driver.
Great and fun, crazy train. I do want to say, but I don't want to ride that crazy train. And you're
No.
supposed to take
Want
it
to dance to it, not ride it.
Yeah, you're supposed to enjoy the moment of where that person was. Hey, I remember being there at that moment, at that time in history. I'm not here now. Let me celebrate these wins here. And that's huge. And yes, I love the whole holistic freedom, your financial, your health and wealth, your wisdom, your spirituality. And that's what we're all moving to. And to say that's where so much, especially in the community, coaches, collaborators, consultants are moving into that point where we want to have this great awakening and this great change. But with it comes also how to ground. We need to ground, be focused, have a structure in place. The house has to have a foundation. Otherwise, it's going to be like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. It's going to get caught. And that house is going to rise, and there's a witch and a whole crazy story in that. But you want that to be strong and structured because you said this great thing. It's repeatable. That's now a scientific fact, right? If you can take the theory, you can repeat the theory, that gets documented, that is workable, and you can make fine-tuning adjustments. And then your clients know who you are, they recognize you, and they're comfortable with you, and then they can refer other clients to you.
And they trust you. Like the world is in this massive trust deficit. And part of the reason is because if you are constantly changing your North Star, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you stand for, and certainly it doesn't make me feel like you're a safe bet. And talk about the Wizard of Oz, a girlfriend of mine who knows my business journey, and I had to make a big decision of simplifying. I had too many things on the go. And the comment was, what if you just go all in on one? I'm like, I'm scared to step away from that complexity because the silence might be deafening. And she gave me a quote from the Wizard of Oz. She said, Dorothy, you always had the power. You just had to see it yourself. When you simplify and go all in, it had such a big ripple for referrals, for business, for longevity. And it said, guys, you want to pay down your ignorance tax.
Ooh.
And to pay down your ignorance tax, you need to get good at the one thing. There's nothing else that beats lived experience. If you can spot a pattern, live in a pattern, support a pattern, and be a trusted advisor to helping somebody else navigate that pattern, you are so valued in the marketplace. And truthfully, that should feel like oxygen. And I think when people feel like I'm in this overwhelm and I'm spinning things up and things are crazy, and I'm like, you're contributing to that.
Yes.
Do you know there's another option?
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I'm sure there's another option. If you even slow down for a second and think, I could do something else. And said, if you are in overwhelm, it's because you're buying into complexity. You're trying to do too many things. You're not living in the stillness. Stillness is repeatable. Patterns are easier to spot. And here's the cool kicker. It is what repeats.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the know and trust, the collaboration, all this comes together and it's the full picture. It's the full spectrum. You're getting everything and you're getting recognized. And now you're building a brand so people can now know and trust you. They see you. You're coming through on social media. You're meeting at networking events and people go, oh, I know Christine. She's that business lady. They may not remember everything that you do, but they're going to recognize your face. They're going to see you. Again and again, you're showing up and you're showing out. You're grabbing a mic, you're speaking, and you're rebranding, but you're still teaching. There's these wonderful little nuggets that come through each time that someone sees you and gets acquainted with you and sees you maybe at an event or works with you as a client. And that's important that it's repeatable and you can see it. And now you could just decompress and go, oh, okay, how easy is this? How wonderful is this? And how ease of mind, and then your family, your friends, your clients, that's a whole different person. Your body
And it's
changes.
the exhale, right? It is the centeredness of the exhale. And if it feels like you're hardly breathing, it's because you've forgotten to exhale. And my true tell when I'm working with clients is your business should feel like oxygen. Okay, it should be simple, You do without thinking. And in some ways, maybe not the best branding story, but I said it should be beautifully boring. And get into that thing that does provide the consistency, because that's what we crave. We crave the pattern. We crave the known. We crave not that wild ride. And you can still iterate with my thing. I always think of businesses like the umbrella. What's your true north? It's the top spoke of the umbrella. And you might have different elements through your umbrella, but they all lead to the same place. My business, we help people with client growth. How do we do that? Everything we do leads you to the same outcome. You can listen to a podcast. You can come to a live event. You can do a small 30-day experience. You could do a 6-month experience. You could do a year-long program, but all of those things will add to one thing because we stand for one thing. And the way in which I see the world is that the business growth is really simple. Don't mistake simplicity for effortless.
Yes.
They're not the same thing. And my clients don't buy into ease. They just don't, because they're like, I want to create something that's stable and I know it's going to take effort.
Right.
I want to know the effort's worthwhile. I said, you can breathe in and breathe out. Is that worthwhile? They're like, yes, because that would be new and novel. Because right now I'm constantly setting myself on fire. You don't have a business, you have an idea. And the idea is the easy bit. The foundations are the bit that takes discipline, they take grit, they take experience. And that means doing the messy middle. And everyone's just want the other side. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Don't make it on the journey also unnecessarily complex. Doesn't need to be.
And there's not a shot or a pill to simplify it because we'd all take it and we'd all be there. But we're here on earth to have an experience.
Yes.
We're here to be in our meat suits and do the thing. That's on a soul contract level. Here we are. So let's be here all together and support one another. And that's so beautiful. And you bring a richness and the know-how. And so important in seeing that, hey, for me, what I see in this change is it's not everybody's in fear. They may be in overwhelm, but it's almost like they're that top that got spun and it's starting to slow down and they're starting to see it and go, okay, how do I stop now? And you're giving that how to people and you're saying, okay, this is easy so you don't go out of control and over the line, out of the circle. So here's everybody and to say, hey, here's where we should be right now together in this moment. To be these abundant beings, we are meant to be knowledgeable with all this wonderful knowledge. And to say, hey, have that clarity of thought. I love that. That's so great. And really teaching, you teach everything almost. It's like I look at this, there's marketing, there's sales, there's operations, and it's, there's so much out there, but to bring it back in under that umbrella, to bring it into that one department. And it's such a beautiful thing. And it's so important when people are looking for that coach or consultant to say, hey, I understand I need to ease my business. I don't need the next shiny thing that they spent and wasted their money on.
Connector set. And that's what I always see. Like you talk about that spinning top. Here's the thing you need to hear. It's going to be a really important lesson. The wobble's normal. Okay, everything on the planet is rotating. Everything is in vibration. We're always in movement. So when you're thinking feels weird, that's because you're choosing to be out of the wobble. But you can control whether you think the wobble's kicking my butt or I'm in control of the wobble. And you're right, we do connect pieces of marketing and sales and ops and systems, but we're the glue. And that's the thing that's missing is you have all this great knowledge and all of you do. You've had a lived experience. You're a human on the planet. You've listened to podcasts. You've experienced things. You have the pieces, but you're struggling to put them in sequence. One thing we do really is connect the dots. And that's why that spoken analogy is so clear in my mind. It's like we have one true north, but those intersection points, we actually build the bridge of them. And that's what creates the pattern. That's what creates the repeatability. That's what creates the exhale. Oh, they're interwoven. Yes, they connect. How? If you don't know how, let's build you that knowledge and show you how those pieces can connect to powerful outcomes.
Wow.
Then you can say, I'm in control of the wobble. Even when I'm really growing fast, even when all these opportunities are coming your way, I love getting off zero and saying, guess what? I get out of bed today looking for opportunity, knowing I can inhale and exhale and be opportunistic because I can connect the pieces. And if I can't connect them by myself, I know the universe will provide that.
Yes. Yes. And that's being a good leader too in business, right? When you're a good leader, you can delegate tasks, and maybe you need a little bit of some finite tools to repurpose and reprogram. And you're growing, and somebody else that has already grown and can show you the way and give you that blueprint. Now it's time to go on to that, because now you can hire and you can delegate to other people's strengths. Maybe it's time to finite your strengths and your purpose and your servitude. You're going to be on the summit coming up, Control Alt Scale. I am so excited. I love this, and I just thank you for being part of this. I'm really jazzed, and I don't say this lightly, because of the people that were attracted into this summit are so amazing and so knowledgeable, and people that there's just juicy tidbits, and there's this great, wonderful energy, and it's just all here, this connection, this clarity, this focus, and bringing so much to the table that people are going to be able to get and learn and vibe with, and really just hopefully it does ignite them, not set them on fire, but ignites them to do those great changes and to add this to their business so they can get some clarity and some how to. We're going to talk about fractured to focus, 3 non-negotiables to ignite your client growth. And that's what we're in business for, is to get leads, to get clients, to get the sale. What's that all about?
This is where it was my big assessment when I had all these conversations with emerging entrepreneurs and they were really stuck. It was that they couldn't connect the dots. And so many times it's just not in any judgment, but ignorance around how does the house get built? I see the house, but I've never been the person who built it from this very foundational level. So I'm going to actually share you what are the rule book of business? What are the foundations which are non-negotiable? Because you have a choice to make. Stepping into that room, you're like, I have a spark that's lit. I have a purpose I want to step into. I have a unique lens, a unique gift I want to share, and a role to play in lighting up a dark spot for somebody else. But you've got to carry that, not just light it. And so these non-negotiables, first off, we're going to educate you on what does business require to build a solid foundation of repeatable success. And we're going to help you know how to stay out of the complexity. Because if you, for a nanosecond, get distracted, there's a shiny object right in front of you. And that shiny object won't serve you. There's a time and place for sizzle. Sizzle never lasts and endures the way substance does. And so we're going to build you a really strong foundation because I want to see you win. This is the thing I saw time and time again. I said, is it not exhausting doing the hokey pokey? 1 foot in, 1 foot out, constantly chasing your tail, trying to throw things around the wall. This is a time and age where there's so much knowledge easily available. How do we connect the dots? Because what I love about what you're bringing together for the summit, and why I was excited to say, yeah, I really want to be part of this experiment and experience, because the people in the room will be sparks for their own destiny, and everyone around that is contributing to it is a fuel source. We go together.
Yeah.
We're stronger together. And you'll learn knowledge that's going to demystify repeatable success. Stop being on fire.
Yes. And it's passionate and it sounds like a lot, but it's not when you have the guidance and the way to do this, to put out the fire. Here's the fire extinguisher for that. And clear.
And here's where the gasoline tank is on equal measure, right? Here is the foundational piece to put yourself out of fire if you're in it. And here's how I got it. I'm rock solid. I can survive anything. It's time to add the gasoline and be in control of the wobble, which is the acceleration of your business, the movement of more clients towards you, the greater revenue you create that you put back into your communities, and you live in that wealth engine. And that's truly what I think will go, I feel vibrant in my life. And that's really what I want to live in my own purpose. It's like, I want to know that I didn't leave it to chance, that I didn't leave it all on the table. I didn't sit in observation of it. I jumped in, paid my tax, learned the messy way, found great people to go play with, and now go, oh, isn't this a wild ride? I love my life because I'm both exhaling and I'm like, oh my God, that's anticipation. I could do something fun over there.
How awesome, because now you can enjoy it. It's like Toad's Wild Ride. You're here, you're wobbling, you're in the teacups, you're moving around. There's a little bit of here, and there's so much to take in. And then you get off and you're like, wow, that was fun. I can do it again. But now I know how to. Now I know how to enjoy this.
Now I want to speed it up.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, whoa, at the first is whoa. But it's not for people who want to dip their toe in the water and just play around and just flounder and flop around. It's really the swim,
Yeah.
the journey, that go into the ocean and say, we can all do this. And it's important with this is sales and opportunity and call to action to say, if I'm going to get clients, if I'm going to attract clients, I got to have a call to action. I got to be able to talk to them and have that, now that that's in place, that you can have that repeatable strategy and that structure and know that it works. You beta tested it. Now there's that point of, hey, oh, I can talk to clients. What a difference.
And the right people for you. Here's the cool bit. Your next client is already searching for you. If you don't get visible, that's on you. But you get to declare who you're looking for. Put a call out to serve them. Actually connect with them and create the impact. And I think sometimes that's why it feels heavy. We don't know who we're looking for, so it's not exciting. We get desperate in the gaps between this client and the next client until we know that there's a system to create it. But I say, when you know exactly who you're looking for and you rocked up to any space, if there was your local Starbucks, you're sitting in a line up, getting on a plane, whatever you're doing in life, experiencing life, you're like, oh my God, that's somebody I want to play with. I want to do something great with. I want to support. It never gets old. It feels like oxygen.
Right.
But your people are searching. How cool would it be if you could find them predictably so that you had that stability? Not just once. Once is amazing. You should dance it out when you get it. Receive it when it comes your way, but also go, wow, it could be opportunistic to create it.
Right. And now you have the wand. It's like even Harry Potter had to practice his magic. It didn't just come overnight. There was theory and there was
There were things
reading.
that caught on fire. There was broken
Definitely.
spells. There was, oh, that's gone sideways. And that's the true experience of the business journey. Don't ever mistake that somebody who's making progress is doing so without a whole bunch of whoops, mishaps. And wow, that was fascinating. And wow, that was fun too.
Exactly. And you can pay for the cleanup. So if you make a big mistake and you do an oopsie, maybe you drop the trash on the floor, but you made an oopsie, now you can have a team of people that clean up behind you and you can move on to the next project. It's the chaos. How do you clean up that chaos and how do you fix it? And so now you can pivot into this. But this attracts, and you've got this great VIP gift that talks about more buyers, more money, breakthrough session. What's that like in the client journey to go, hey, I can bring in more. Now they're there in the moment to accept it. Now they're able to have the call to action, but the continuity of continuously going, hey, the paycheck's getting bigger. Now I can go on the trip. Now I can talk to these wonderful people. Now I can serve or donate or be passionate about, spend time with my family to the projects or the people that I want to participate with.
Knowing you can create wealth and having the skill set to do that is the ultimate freedom. And that's what we start to tackle in this session. You want to know that you don't control when somebody says yes, but you control how much you show up. And I don't mean work 24/7. We're knowing exactly the 3 foundations that will build any business on the planet. Who is your buyer? How will you move them from curious to paid client? And what makes you the must hire? Which means when you get up and you go, today's a season of building, and everything is seasonality. Give yourself seasons. There's seasons of great building. And there's also seasons of enjoyment. And there's seasons that you get sidetracked. But this actual ability, going back to the Dorothy and Wizard of Oz, you have the power in your hands to navigate anything, is the ultimate way you exhale as an entrepreneur. And we're going to help guide you there.
Yes, and you can afford to buy the ruby slippers. Hello. And
You
look
can
cute.
buy any kind of red slippers you like, and more than one. And it's a fun thing. I want you to be, in many ways, I want you to be in love with your life.
Yes, yes. And you can have, and when you're doing good and you're manifesting and you celebrate, you can celebrate you, buy yourself the ruby slippers, whatever the cause is, that you completed the goal, the task, and bringing in that cause and saying, hey, I completed this. Now I can support this cause for me or support other people. And then you can bring more people into your community. And if you're doing good, you can absolutely have that money to fund other projects, to bring other people in.
It's
And
a receiving thing.
yes,
When you cast good energy out, please remember that it is not a one-directional conversation. It is also, I'm willing to receive the abundance that comes in. That means people paying you for your services, people wanting to be in your space, wanting to collaborate. But guess what? When you gift and receive, that's what creates the ripple. And it is what makes you feel in vibration. And receiving and being able to do great things comes when you decide, I can go after what I want. Because great leaders do good things with influence. And that's what you're building as a business owner, influence. Call your people, create your tribe, care on a really big scale. The world
great.
needs more of that.
100%, because when you can say all you want, and I see this all the time, and I'm sure other people see it. I know my clients see it and talk about it. When you got these influencers and hey, they're buying likes and subscriptions, they're getting out there, they're not really putting the work in. When you're looking at your business, you can buy into certain things or buy into referrals, but what's going to keep you going? So like YouTube subscriptions, if you don't have something that's worthy or valuable, or people see that's fun or have some type of value in it, whether it's a takeaway, a tip, a trick, or it made somebody laugh and it goes viral. On the other hand, as a business owner, like a solopreneur, if you're buying those referrals and they're not valuable, you have to build that customer relationship. So you're constantly looking at the continuity and the repeatability. And what a breakthrough this is, because now that it's clear, you can look at it and go, oh, okay, I want to see behind the scenes. That's the important part, because there's so much value that people seem to give. And like you had mentioned, but is the shiny object in the room, or the shiny salesman, the charismatic sales. But there's no value behind that. When people look at the back end, ooh, I didn't realize this coming into business or deciding I wanted to be a business owner. I didn't know that all this scary stuff was back here. Is it truly that much of a nightmare?
It's not. And it is the nightmare you create, right? And that's sometimes trying to do things that you're not skilled at, trying to wear all the hats and trying to buy into that complexity. What's really important is you get to choose what your North Star is. You get to choose how you want to go about business. And that idea that you should buy influence is an interesting one. And there's certainly a lot of people in the world who skated in that lane. I say to people, how do you want to show up? What do you want to do? You go back to that really basic concept, get off zero, find your next one. And if you are only serving one person, the person who's directly in front of you, you don't need all this complexity. You don't need all the back end. That doesn't mean that you can't use tools. But the tools don't make the business. The people make the business. And so for me, when we talk about this concept, remember how simple it can be. It's a choice about how you play the game.
Right. And can you play the game well? And are you learning? Are you continuing to play the game like the chessboard? What's your next 5 moves? Where are you
Well, you're
going
saying,
from
how do you
here?
play the game? One thing I would say is, how do you play the game? Which means, how do I live by my values? Because
Yes.
everybody plays the game differently and everyone has different perspectives of their values. I always think, me at the end of my day, I always get back to the lessons I learned as a child is, do you sleep well at night? Did you show up and live your values? Yeah,
Yes.
which means I'm playing the game. And I'm always very mindful that everything starts with a decision to get off one. Everything starts by showing up and saying the one person who's going to hear today is enough, because for them, it's everything. And when we look at our back end and what's behind the curtain, we can create organization or we can create chaos. You will initially probably always start with chaos. But staying there is optional, because until you know better, you can't do better. But you can leverage great knowledge and you can create organization, because when you create organization, guess what happens? Repeatability, holding a standard, setting your standard that sits with your values, and then checking in. Do I sleep well at night? I want it to be a journey that you do.
Absolutely. And it's great that you can sleep and think about that. And this is what you got into business for, right? You're not in the cubicle. You're not stuck with the boring meetings to have a meeting to plan to have a meeting to. So maybe don't run your business the same way if that's what you got away from. Let's
Don't
look
become
at
the
that
employee
change.
that you hated being.
Or the boss that you're like,
Oh,
no,
boss,
I
you couldn't.
quit.
And you're role modeled for sure. And that's, I think, one of the big transitions between living and organized or living in chaos and deciding to organize. It's your business. You're not a journey. And yes, you are an employee of your org. Hopefully a well-paid one. But at the end of the day, don't remember that your goal is not to just mark time. It's to contribute impact. That's the choice of the entrepreneur.
Because if you don't do the work and you don't bring some value there or get clients, you can't pay yourself as the employee. So you're not writing the check to yourself and writing that off on the tax. It's a whole nother thing. But this is interesting to me. You're a 3-time international best-selling author, and you have a bachelor in commerce and an MBA in international business. How has business changed, especially with the online and the tech tools that are even able to provide more simplicity and ease the solopreneur's life?
I'm going to be a little controversial and say it hasn't changed a heck of a lot. And I know that's not what you're hearing out there. Because here's the thing. A lot of people think online is new. I have Skyped up until Skype died 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago now. I've Skyped every Sunday to my parents since 1996. 1996. That platform is not new. The online world isn't new. And I think, like a really well-made Chanel dress, the architecture behind it is classic, not new. And in today's world, to actually create great automation and really effective AI, it takes great architecture. It takes great foundations, because garbage in is garbage out. So as much as people do business with people 1,000 years ago because they got to know a person, I don't think that's any different today.
Right.
I think what's happening now, and one way it has changed, is that our willingness to outsource our own thinking power is getting a little dangerous. People hire you for your opinion. They hire you for your lived experience. If you don't know what you stand for, some aggregate of the human race is not going to give you one answer to stand out. Show up as you. People do business with you. How you show up is a choice. And so I think that we are abdicating, and that's the one way we're changing, versus innovating. And I think those that will survive, as much as they survived in 1996 when I started, and the principles that I learned in 2 degrees in the world of business, I know how to read a P&L. I know how to handle and do some very basic understanding of contract. Those are skills that I have learned 30 years in the making. They're as relevant today as they were the first time I taught them. Maybe some of the accounting principles and the current regulations around taxes are changing, but the garbage in and garbage out still stands true. So I think the world hasn't changed as much as we believe. I think we're taking an easy path when we say it has changed fundamentally so that everything should go with the baby in the bathwater out. I said, no, you're buying into that complexity story.
100%. 100%.
Math is still 0 and 1. Still get off 0. Still build relationships. Still know who you are and live in your values. And you will always be outstanding in your field. But if you abdicate it and you release it and you let the aggregate win, you'll be irrelevant in 18 months.
Quicker than you were before. Maybe
Ever
that's what's
before.
changed, right?
Ever.
But I do know, and when you're talking about outsourcing, which is relevant because most people that I've talked to in the last few years have stressed even just shopping on Amazon or working with clients in their business to say, hey, customer service has gone down the tubes. So if you take a step away from your authenticity and the way that you provide customer service, and you're putting all these tools and tech into place that have no need necessary or purpose and are going to frustrate your client because they're not getting you. They're getting your junk, and you haven't programmed your AI. So they can't even get into the chat. And they're constantly cycling around, and it's more chaos for your clients, which causes chaos for you. And in business, when people, like the casinos, for instance, at the Wynn in Vegas, they had 5-star, 5-diamond, they earned that. They started to change ownership, went corporate, and outsource. So every job was done by a contractor, and nobody oversaw the contractor because nobody wanted responsibility for the junk and the cheap business that they did. So they lost business. They had to get rid
And
of
the
them.
buck stops with you. And that's a human choice. And that's where I think we really haven't changed as much as we are told we have. Your lens is what's the most valued. And I always think when I make a decision about how we show up, I said, you get direct access. So we manage our capacity knowing that is a non-negotiable for us. I am really clear that you didn't get bamboozled by a $9 thing to become a private client of ours. We don't leave you in loops. And here's the thing about outsourcing. I'm a big fan of skilling appropriately to grow your business, but you can't outsource something you don't understand how it connects to something else. And this is the colossal mistake. I see people who are like, I just want to scale and I'm going to just hire a sales team. I'm like, okay, let me tell you 2 things about sales teams. Great salespeople want to sell a product that sells already because they eat based on what they sell. Highly commission-based in most traditional sales roles. So if you're not selling, why would a great salesperson choose your team? Which means naturally they don't. So when you do hire somebody, you have not got a star player, you've got a mediocre player. And you're going to bleed for 6 to 9 to 12 months, wondering, I paid them to sell and they're not selling it. So you haven't sold first. Can't outsource what you can't do first. Second piece to that is you will always have a number one responsibility, which is to understand how it connects to the service delivery. Because if what they're selling isn't a reflection of actually what you're delivering, you'll burn your bridge so fast you will not watch your head spin backwards. Guys, I see it every day. People come into my business all the time. Christine, I've spent $5,000 on salespeople. And I'm like, let's talk about your foundations first. And they're like, but I just want you to tell me what to say and write me some scripts. And I'm like, it's not how we play. Somebody else will take your money on that. I guarantee it. I'm not one of them. We're going to help you know what room to get into, help you really understand your true north, help you really figure out what to sell. We're going to help you sell. And then we're going to say, add gasoline. Let's outsource now. We're ready. And we're not going to do it out of that sequence. And that's where, again, that glue piece of what we do, I think, is really unique in the marketplace because we're just as good at the strategy as we are in the weed, but we're going to help you understand where the connecting pieces are because that's what actually will help you create long-term results. And in my career, from back when being 1996, when we were first learning to Skype on a dial-up, or we had to go to where the computers are. Computers weren't in our homes at that point. I mean, God, I am absolutely aging myself. But I said, I remember meeting the owner of Google in 1997. And I thought he was an idiot. Google was not the horse we backed. We're not smarter. I'm smarter than all of you, and I'll be the one who survives. And we thought he was an idiot. We were in San Francisco. We're like, where's the bar? We're done. You're the last guy, and none of us really want to hear anything about Google. Google was not the person we now know it to be. But they stayed at the table. They did one thing really well. They stayed disciplined in it, and they wrote their paycheck.
Oh, wow. Yes. And yes, the consistency and the ability to teach people what their business is, and you have to be able to talk and provide customer service and answer questions
And be available.
Be available, answer the call, talk.
People are like, that's too much work. And I'm like, if it's too much work, quit the field. That's what you need to be to win today. And I think it was just as true 30 years ago. And when I've made my success in my career and my business to date, I said it was always this. I will absolutely celebrate your first win. I'm more interested in where we're going to be in 10.
Ooh, yes.
And I have that longevity because I know my business will be here in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. Do you? Or are you chasing the next shiny object by somebody you weren't even in business with 3 months ago? But now they've figured out the rock star solution magic pill. And I'm like, there's no magic pill. Do the work. Understand the foundations. And the principles of business have not changed in hundreds of years. I happen to really believe a handshake and your word is a really important part of that equation.
Yes, let's get back to that. Trusting people.
Well,
Yes.
trust deficit. You want to win in today's marketplace? Learn how to build trust.
Yes.
And it's not always about being perfect. It is about the recovery. The recovery tells more about who you are as a person, how you engage with something, and the value you care about another human being than winning out of the gate ever will. Because they don't see behind the curtain. You asked about the complexity behind the curtain. A really great executing thing looks simple. It's anything but in its level of detail. But when it all comes together, it looks seamless.
It does. You make it look good. You make it look easy. And there's a lot of work into it and the production value. But it's not a fly-by-night flash mob of dancers in the mall, right? Coming at you from crazy places like, whoa, what's going on? And you're to know that you're going to be there tomorrow with the same basic business basics.
They're foundations.
It's going to be there the next time someone talks to you. You're going to be there tomorrow. I've seen you in different places, in different circles, and to go, okay, right now, maybe there's not something we can work with. I'm going to take a note and say, this person shows up, shows out, and knows exactly what she's talking about. And the proof is in the pudding.
And this is the piece of it. You asked if it had changed. I said, no. Do I think it's evolved? That's maybe a better term than changed. Because when I think about my clients hire us to help them find predictable client growth. And that's it. Very simple. That's what the tin says. That's what all programs lead to. I know when I sleep better at night, it's because this happens. I'm teaching you how to think for yourself. How do you want to navigate the next evolution, the next technology, the next golden opportunity, the next down cycle? And do you have faith, trust in your ability to navigate it? That's the long-term thing. And I have lots of past clients that come back to me all the time and say, God, you're in my head. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I should have come with a warning. What kind of advice am I giving you in your head these days? And they tell me, and it's maybe 5 years since we were working as a client relationship mentor. And the advice is still rock solid. Hasn't changed that much. But we're helping you critically think. And I think in the world where we're outsourcing, so that's where I do think it's shifting in unfortunate ways, you're stuck thinking critically. And you're going to live in mediocrity if you do. Because you won't navigate the next cycle. And I want to know, I'll navigate the next cycle. I constantly evolve. I live within the foundations and I play different sequences, knowing that the old school values are my calling card.
100%. And coming back to that old school handshake and understand that and the development in the community, and now we can support one another in the community to get that value, those takeaways, build the foundation, know and trust. And it's so much that it was like, hey, if we critically think, and I know I have pretty much gotten in trouble for critically thinking or asking what's really going on here and asking my bosses.
And your time now is rising because you did.
And what a beautiful thing. But I feel for the people, and I love what you share because I feel for the people I see out there and go, hey, there's solutions to your anger and your rage because you don't have the wherewithal or you no longer or haven't yet possessed the tools to heal and move forward and change what you want to change. You're not just a change maker, but you're providing solutions. And that's so important when you critically think and you start to work with solutions in a chess match or Harry Potter and bringing these magical solutions and bringing this all in. Now you have these solutions and it comes everywhere. And that's where you get stuck in the head. Oh, it's not a chip in there. You're not taking the robot home. You're taking the thought process.
You're taking the spark.
And the spark, absolutely, to control that. And it's a controlled burn, right?
It's a control wobble, right?
Yes.
I say to people all the time, and it's like a language within my clients, I said, the wobble is normal. And I wobble just as much as you do. Let's be clear. Might be the outside look like but there's always wobble. We're always dealing with the traumas and the head trash and the stories and the opportunities and all the things that keep echoing are just part of the human experience. But I always say this. You have a choice to let the wobble control. You have a choice to control the wobble, because the coolest thing is you're not on this journey by yourself. And we talk about the journey of marketing is what I say we do. Brand is the lived experience of what we do. And we have to curate both.
Yeah.
That's where trust is built. And the big challenge, I think, for many people right now is just slow down enough to choose to be either controlled or to influence. And from there, build congruency. If you can take a through line, whether it's from your marketing to your sales, to your delivery, to your values, to the standards you uphold, and play that compound effect, it is inevitable that you will have repeatable success. You're just choosing your speed on the journey. And some seasons are Mach 10 hair on fire and some are not. Life is life for all of us. Don't mistake that. But there's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of ways to create, and there's a lot of ways to play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can choose your path. I love that. And you provide the guidance. So we are wrapping up. It's a great conversation. I could talk to you all day because I learn, I grow. I might have you in my head later. That's okay. We'll have
You're
a
welcome.
conversation. That's okay. I'll take the implant right here. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I'm not going to resist, because what we resist persists. But we're coming to the end. Any other messages? Because you've just given a ton of value. Any other last takeaways?
I would just tell you this, and you need to hear this. You have to do this because you want to. And a lot of people will feel like I'm selfish to want what I want. You have your destiny. You have your purpose. You have your lived experience, the highs and the lows. But if you really want to control anything, control your own influence, which is getting crystal clear and owning, I'm choosing to do this because I want to. Life isn't happening to you, you're creating it. And I think one of the things that we can really unleash is a lot of people living in their service of self actually is a good thing. I wouldn't have started this business if I hadn't wanted to. Nobody can make me do this. I'm not an employee. I'm choosing this. So give yourself free permission to want, to pursue, to show up, and not buy into the complexity.
Well said. Round of applause. Thank you. All the bells and whistles. I'll put that all. Whoop. Pop the champagne. I love it. This actually excites me. Critical thinking excites me. Crazy things excite me. But that's just the intellectual being and the fun and the energy that you bring in the passion of what you do. Thank you so much for being here. All of Christine's information will be down below, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify. You'll see everything on LinkedIn, Twitter, all of her great stuff, her giveaways. Come to the Control Alt Scale Summit and just, hey, it's free. Come attend. You can get the VIP ticket and you can watch this again and again, because you're going to want that to get in it. You're going to want it to stick in there and have that in the data field right there. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you.
You traded the suit for freedom, but now you're drowning in busy work with nothing to show for it. Busy doesn't mean profitable. Business growth is elegantly simple. Transform into a confident leader with an engaged team and rising revenue. Get a clear roadmap, real mentorship, and hands-on business growth support. Book your More Buyers, More Money strategy session now. Scan code to book your More Buyers, More Money strategy session now.
The real world, a global community where like-minded individuals work toward achieving their personal goals. Every member receives advanced training and mentoring from our team of experienced industry specialists. Develop essential business skills with the help of our coaches through our online comprehensive education system. Join now. Real Prosperity Financial Freedom Formula. Discover how to become financially free so you don't have to depend on your business, a job, the government, a partner, or anyone else for money. Scan code for the Financial Freedom Formula. 4BK Forbidden Knowledge Shop. Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops. Embark on a journey of discovery with Forbidden Knowledge Tours and Workshops, where history, science, and spirituality merge to unlock the secrets of the universe. Our immersive experiences take you beyond the mainstream narrative, exploring ancient civilizations, consciousness expansion, biohacking, UFO phenomena, and the art of manifestation. Esoteric Store, featuring new esoteric and biohack items. It's a movement, a portal to ancient wisdom, higher vibrations, and deep truths. Awakening minds and expanding consciousness. Scan code to shop now. AI Genius Club. Revolutionary suite of 24 AI-powered apps is designed to automate, optimize, and elevate your success. Whether you're crafting visuals, creating engaging funnels, or generating personalized content, our platform empowers you to excel with ease and precision. Scan code to create magic. Event Raptor, the #1 solution for automating your sales. Attract, nurture, and convert with your ultimate coaching client attraction system. Everything you need to grow your audience, your authority and influence, your sales. Scan to start your automation.